The Tiahuanaco ancient city. The first thing you feel here is the air. Thin, cold. Every breath, a reminder that you stand nearly 4 kilometers above sea level. The Altiplano is one of the most inhospitable places on Earth. The winds are relentless, the land is dry, the nights freezing. And yet, here in this barren landscape, an ancient civilization rose to greatness. Not far from the ruins lies Lake Titicaca, the highest navigable lake in the world. The Aymara people, descendants of those who once walked these streets, tell stories of the gods emerging from its deep blue waters. In Andean myth, it was here that the creator god Viracocha brought the sun, the moon, and the stars into the sky, and from here humanity began. But why build a city in such a harsh place? Perhaps because this was sacred ground. Archaeologists tell us Tiahuanaco began as a small settlement around 1500 BC, growing steadily until it became the center of a vast empire by the 8th century. Others challenge that view. In the early 20th century, Bolivian scholar Arthur Poznansky studied the site for decades. Using astronomical alignments carved into stone, he argued the city was far, far older, perhaps 12,000 years old, a time when humanity was thought to still be living in simple tribal groups. Could such an advanced city have existed before the end of the last ice age? Whatever its true age, Tiahuanaco grew into the spiritual and political heart of the Andean world. Its people mastered high-altitude farming, using raised fields and complex irrigation channels to feed tens of thousands. From this plateau they traded with distant lands, to the deserts of Chile, the valleys of Peru, and even the jungles of Argentina. Even in ruins, Tiahuanaco is breathtaking. Here stands the Acapana Pyramid, once 7 massive tiers rising 18 meters high. Scholars believe it was a ceremonial platform, a stage for rituals to honor the gods, perhaps even a place for shamanic journeys into the spirit world. Nearby is the Kalisasaya Temple, a vast open courtyard surrounded by towering stone pillars. Some believe it was an astronomical observatory, tracking the movements of the sun and stars with perfect precision. And then there is the semi-subterranean temple, its sunken courtyard lined with 175 carved stone heads, each with a unique face. Were these the likenesses of conquered enemies? Ancestors? Or perhaps something else entirely? The stones here are not just large, they are impossibly massive. Some weigh more than 25 tons, quarried over 300 kilometers away. No wheels, no beasts of burden. How were they moved? How were they lifted and set in place with such precision that even today, a knife blade cannot fit between them? These are not just ruins, they are a puzzle written in stone. Standing alone as if guarding the city is the Sun Gate, carved from a single block of andesite, nearly 4 meters wide, weighing over 10 tons. Its surface is covered with intricate carvings. At the center, a godlike figure holding a staff in each hand, tears streaming down his face. They call him the Weeping God, or Viracocha himself. Around him are strange winged figures, part human, part bird, and rows of mysterious symbols. Some scholars say the Sun Gate is a calendar, marking the solstices and equinoxes. Others whisper of a doorway, not to another place but another world. Was the Sun Gate a map of the heavens? A tool for agriculture? Or an interdimensional portal, as some legends suggest? We may never know. The Tiahuanaco people spoke Aymara, a language so complex, some researchers believe it could not have developed in isolation, but was inherited from a far older culture. They were masters of agriculture, creating a network of canals, reservoirs, and terraces that turned the harsh Altiplano into fertile land. Their city was aligned with the movements of the sun, moon, and stars, built according to a cosmic blueprint. When the Inca Empire rose centuries later, they adopted many of Tiahuanaco's techniques, in farming, architecture, and even religion. In many ways, the Inca stood on the shoulders of these forgotten giants. Around the year 950 CE, the climate began to change. A long and devastating drought swept the Altiplano. The canals dried. The fields withered. Without food, the empire's power crumbled. People abandoned the city, scattering across the Andes, leaving the temples and plazas to the wind. By the time the Spanish arrived in 1549, Tiahuanaco was already a ghost, its massive stones half buried in the earth. The Spanish looted the site, using its stones to build churches and houses. For centuries, Tiahuanaco's true history lay forgotten. It wasn't until the 20th century that archaeologists began serious excavations. And in the year 2000, the site was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a recognition of its immense cultural and historical value. Who built Tiahuanaco? When was it built? And perhaps most importantly, how? Arthur Poznański's 12,000-year-old dating challenges everything we know about human civilization. Others go even further, suggesting the builders possessed lost technology or were guided by beings from beyond the earth. The precision of the stonework, the sheer scale of the construction, the astronomical alignments, all hint at knowledge far ahead of its time. Was Tiahuanaco part of a global network of advanced prehistoric civilizations? A sister to sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, Puma Punku nearby, or even the pyramids of Egypt? For now, these are questions without answers. The winds of the Altiplano still whisper through the ruins. Stones that have stood for millennia, watching as empires rise and fall. Tiahuanaco is more than a city. It is a riddle carved in stone, a reminder that history is not always what we think it is. Perhaps, buried beneath the earth, or hidden in the symbols of the Sun Gate, the truth still waits to be found. Until then, Tiahuanaco remains the lost city of the gods, the unsolved mystery of Puma Punku, ancient high-tech or alien influence. In the high plains of Bolivia, nestled near the world-renowned site of Tiahuanaco, lies a shattered temple complex that continues to baffle scientists, historians, and adventurers alike. This is Puma Punku, a place where stone blocks weighing hundreds of tons were cut and assembled with such precision that even modern tools would struggle to replicate it. But who built it, and how? Puma Punku is part of a vast archaeological site known as Tiahuanaco, a major cultural center predating the Inca Empire. Carbon dating of organic material near the ruins suggests the site flourished between 300 and 1000 BC, under the Tiahuanaco Empire. But, was Puma Punku actually built by them? That's where the mystery deepens. No written records explain its construction. And the structures found here are unlike anything else in South America. Was this truly the work of the Tiahuanaco? Or could it predate them by thousands of years? The stonework at Puma Punku is unlike anything found in the ancient world. Blocks of red sandstone and andesite were carved so precisely that they fit together without mortar. Not even a razor blade can slide between them. Even more astonishing, the perfectly smooth surfaces, right angles, and geometrically exact cuts suggest the use of advanced tools, or even machinery. Could ancient builders really have achieved this, without metal tools, without wheels, and without trees to transport the stones? Consider this: the red sandstone blocks were brought from a quarry 10 kilometers away, up steep terrain. The smaller andesite blocks came from even farther, a staggering 90 kilometers from the Copacabana Peninsula. And remember, Puma Punku sits at an altitude of 12,800 feet. That's above the tree line. Meaning no trees, no wooden rollers, no standard transport methods. So how were these colossal stones, some weighing over 100 tons, one estimated at 800 tons, moved to the site? Even with today's technology, we'd need massive cranes and vehicles to attempt such a task. Yet, the builders of Puma Punku did it, without machines. The materials used here add yet another layer of mystery. These are granite and diorite, some of the hardest stones on Earth. The only known material harder is diamond. To cut granite or diorite with precision, even today requires diamond-tipped tools. So if the builders didn't have access to diamond tools, what did they use? No tool marks resembling chisels. No copper tools capable of such work. And yet, the stones were shaped with surgical accuracy. Some researchers believe the only explanation is the use of advanced machinery, or tools we simply don't understand. The lack of logical explanations has led some to a controversial conclusion. Could ancient extraterrestrial beings have had a hand in building Puma Punku? It sounds far-fetched, yet when we compare these ruins to the stories told across ancient cultures, of gods descending from the sky, of impossible knowledge, of sudden leaps in technology, it does make you wonder, was Puma Punku a gift from the stars? Of course, mainstream archaeology dismisses these claims. Most scholars attribute the construction to lost indigenous techniques, or consider the ruins misinterpreted. But even skeptics struggle to explain how such heavy stones were moved, how perfect cuts were made in diorite, and how a civilization without writing left behind no trace of such a monumental effort. What if Puma Punku was built before the Tiahuanaco? What if an unknown, advanced civilization once roamed South America, only to vanish before history began recording? Some believe it's possible that these builders came from across the ocean. Others suggest they may have been survivors of a forgotten global catastrophe. Or, what if Puma Punku is a relic of humanity's first civilization, long before our current history books begin? Without definitive proof, the mystery remains. Puma Punku raises more questions than answers. Who built it? How did they cut and move such massive stones? What tools did they use? And why does it feel like someone, or something, doesn't want us to know? Until we uncover solid evidence, Puma Punku will remain what it has always been. A testament to a forgotten age, a place where science, myth, and the unknown collide. Do you believe Puma Punku was built by ancient humans, or something more? Magnifying glass tilted left, let us know in the comments. Speech balloon, like, share, and subscribe for more ancient mysteries.